Promised to do for you a video regarding insuring your precious metals. Now here I am in Isabela, Puerto Rico. You think everybody comes to Puerto Rico because there's no income tax. Well, look at this view here. I mean, what a fantastic place. It's kind of a windy day. If I did this right, the wind won't affect this too much. So let's talk about that. Yes, you can purchase an insurance policy for your precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum. Now, President Obama, his intention was to reclassify gold and silver as collectibles so that the U.S. government could charge more in taxes on the gains when we go around to sell those. But what President Obama meant for evil does have a silver lining of sorts. Because they are classified as collectibles, now you can theoretically insure gold and silver as you would other collectibles. A statue, a fancy painting, or something else. So this reclassification, I believe, has opened the door for insurance. Now, what about homeowners insurance policies? I checked into my specific policy. Now, I have homeowners insurance with a very large, very well-known company. You would recognize the name instantly. So I believe what I have is going to be very typical of what's available these days. In my case, there's a $500 limit on a loss related to anything made of gold or silver. It doesn't matter whether it's a bullion bar, a bullion coin, or a wedding ring with diamonds and gold. It just doesn't matter. So anything in that category, $500 limit on losses. Now, but there's another catch in there too. So they have it set up with one item, $500. So let's take this for an example. So let's say you had a roll of silver rounds, 20 rounds, worth about approximately $500. And let's say somebody stole the whole roll. Well, that was 20 units each. And the homeowner's insurance will not cover any of it because any one of those 20 was not worth $500. So they will compensate you nothing for the loss. Zero, nada, nothing. All right, now let's just flip that over. And what if you had let's say somebody stole a 1 ounce gold bar? Okay, now that's worth closer to $2,000 and definitely more than $500, but they're still going to limit that to $500. All right, so you're only going to get compensated $500 for your loss. Plus, if you have a deductible, right, then you've got to subtract that as well if that was the only item stolen. Now, I'm trying to analyze why insurance companies might be scared to death of this risk. I think theft is probably the biggest issue. If you think about the different ways that homeowners can experience a loss, I mean, there's a fire, right? Your home can burn to the ground. Well, even if you had a very, very hot fire, the gold and silver might melt. Well, you simply take a shovel, scoop out that pile of stuff, put it in a bucket, take it to a refiner and tell them to extract the gold and silver. You'll be able to recover about 98% of it for a price, but still you'll be able to recover probably about 98% of it. So from a fire standpoint, the insurance companies are protected from a total loss ever because the gold and silver, as we know, does not go away. Maybe it melts into a new shape, but it doesn't go away, and it's recoverable. Well, what about a hurricane? Okay, well, gold and silver are pretty heavy. They're not going to blow away unless you happen to attach them to a kite. And let's see, what other kind of losses? Well, you could have an earthquake. That does not affect gold and silver. What other kinds of losses? Well, you could have structural damage to your home. Maybe the roof collapsed or something. Your gold and silver will be just fine once you dig your way through the rubble to get to the gold and silver. So from a theft standpoint, theft is probably the big issue and the big reason insurance companies are afraid of this. We know that gold and silver are compact, a lot of value stored in a small space, and we like that, right? And that also means it's probably easy for thieves to walk off with it. So, but other kinds of losses are minimal with gold and silver. I asked my agent for my homeowner's insurance if they would write an endorsement or a rider, sometimes it's called, which is an extra extension of the insurance policy to include precious metals. They would not. Absolutely no interest in doing that. What's the purity? How much does it weigh? And what's the current spot price? Those three things, and you can calculate exactly the value of gold and silver. Now, I suppose if you had some collectible antique gold coins or something, there could be some increase there that would require some special attention. But I just think, this whole idea that, well, we don't know what it's worth, well, that's not an excuse. So I just think there's an opportunity here for other companies to get into this insuring of these precious metals. So the company I am using is American Collectors Insurance. www.americancollectors.com. You can see it here on the screen. Now, I've just completed my second year of this policy, and I just have renewed it for a third year. And I did not do this video earlier. I just wanted to wait and make sure I was comfortable with it before I did this video. I would not want, first off, I'm not recommending anything. You guys do your own research, but I would not even mention something unless I were confident that it was a good deal for me, personally, at least, right? So how does this work? Well, there is a deductible through American Collectors Insurance, like there is with most policies, and you get to choose the level. I chose a $1,000 deductible. I'm willing to absorb that much, you know, in losses, and you know, maybe I can recover some of that $500 from my homeowners, like we talked about. So that's what I've chosen for deductible. But you can pick your own there, of course. Now, here's how you price this out. What is the spot price of the precious metals you want to insure? Multiply that by 1%. So if you want to insure $50,000 worth of precious metals, 1% of that is $500. You want to insure $10,000, that would be $100 per year. Well, what happens if your precious metals increased in value from the time you took out the policy until you had your loss? Well, in my case, I went ahead and made sure that my policy had replacement cost coverage. Well, again, there's no question about it with precious metals. If you have a 1 ounce gold bar, we know exactly what the replacement cost is. It's so simple, right? So in my case, I have replacement cost coverage. You might want to make sure you have that. Otherwise, it may be at the value of the precious metals at the time you took out the policy. So that's important. Now, at the time I took out my policy, the insurance company wanted some kind of evidence that I indeed had purchased those and owned those, and that's fine, right? That's pretty standard practice. They're not going to let you take out a phantom insurance policy and then place a claim on it. So now, in my case, I have a spreadsheet that I use for tracking every single item of precious metals that I have purchased. Every one. I've got it in a spreadsheet, in a row in a spreadsheet. And what I've also done is I have scanned the receipts, my purchase receipts, and indexed those to each one of those lines in a spreadsheet. So it was easy enough for me to do. Now, we had a technical difficulty because that spreadsheet with the embedded PDF files of the scans of the receipts ended up being a rather large file. It's a large file. It was too large for them to receive it. I could send it, but their system would not receive it. And so they simply asked me, say, look, we're convinced that you purchased these things. Just strip out the embedded PDF receipt scans and just send us the spreadsheet with the file name of the receipt, and that'll be good for now. So that's what I did. So I stripped out the actual receipts. I still have those. If they need those, I can show them the exact receipts for anything that I've included in the insurance policy. And then I sent the spreadsheet to them. They looked at it, evaluated it, and went ahead and approved and wrote the policy for me. In one of my early videos, I talked about we go through this progression, right? We buy some precious metals, we store it at home, and then we kind of outgrow that, and we too much. So then we get a vaulting service, a local vaulting service, or a safe deposit box at a bank or two banks or something, and we put our monies in there. It's a little bit more secure than having it at home. And if you do videos like me, you definitely don't leave it at home. So anyways, and then the next step is outsourcing that responsibility. So for example, with goldsilver.com or Jambullion, you can actually have a service. You buy it, the physical precious metals are yours. It's isolated in inventory with your name on it. I know that that service, the dealer out of the Cayman Islands there, you have a plastic box with your number on it. It doesn't have your name on it, but it has your number on it, and your stuff is in that box, right? And but the advantage there from an insurance context is that they actually have an insurance policy for theft and loss inside their secure vault. So you've got a double layer of protection there with that kind of a service if you outsource that responsibility. First off, they have it in the super safe vault with security and big doors and thick walls and recording exactly who comes in and goes, cameras, the whole bit. and in addition they insure against loss. So you've got double protection there. Anyways, so you're not going to do a policy like this if you have your precious metals stored in a vault, in a service like that. Now, if you have it in your safe deposit box or something like a Brinks vault, some of the larger cities have Brinks vaults where you can go in. It looks like a safe deposit box, but it's provided by Brinks and some of the other companies that do the same thing. So you can do it with them. So you have to ask yourself the question: do you want to insure that? Now, from my standpoint, the biggest risks of loss, of theft of items from a safe deposit box are the government, right, like the FBI, or the bank making a mistake and accidentally taking your stuff. There seems to be no repercussions if the FBI just goes in and accidentally takes stuff out of your box, or somebody orders them to take it. They'll just take it and you'll never get it back. So ironically, the biggest threat of loss from a bank safety deposit box is our own government. That just breaks my heart. It makes me sad. So anyways, you have to make a decision. Now, if, let's say that a judge had ordered the FBI to go in and take everything out of your safe deposit box, do you think the insurance company is going to pay you and reimburse you for that? No, because it was a government action. So the insurance is not going to do any good. So this raises the question, why would you ever insure your items in a safe deposit box? Now, I have done so anyways for a couple of reasons. But if you store your items around your home or something like that, this is something to consider. So there are a couple of strategy decisions you need to make. First, are you going to try to insure all your precious metals or most of it, or what size deductible you're going to have? Another item is you may want to consider by location. If you happen to store items at home, this might be a viable option to insure against theft and such from your storage at your home location. If you use a vaulting service or a bank safe deposit box, do you feel the need to insure precious metals that are inside those? That's a decision that you have to make. So I want to be clear that I'm not endorsing American Collectors Insurance. I am not a paid representative. I'm not compensated in any way for doing this. I was offered that, but I declined. And so this is just an honest video, and it's a company that I found that does insure precious metals, and so I use them. I expect to continue to use them. I think there's an opportunity for competition here. So there you go. There's actually an insurance company that will insure your precious metals, American Collectors Insurance. And the particular person I work with is Christopher Foran. I'll put his name here in the notes below and his telephone number. Feel free to contact him. He's been good to me and helpful. And also, you can just, if you feel so inclined to, just contact any salesperson there as well. I'm sure they'll be glad to help you. So if you notice the beginning of all my videos, I have the water splashing up on the rocks. That actually is this beach. So this is Isabela Beach in Isabela in the northwest corner of Puerto Rico. Absolutely love it here. I spend more time here than I probably should, but you can't help it. It's just a wonderful place. All right, this video ends here because I've got a beach to go splash in. So all right, we'll see you folks. I appreciate you all. Thanks.